Please just fill in. Yeah. Is it United or?
United, of course.
Oh, of course, of course.
Hi, this is Mike Peters of The Alarm, and you're listening to From the Pressbox with Rob and Tim Leonard on 90.3 FM WHPC. I hope you're going to talk a lot about...
Are we talking about Manchester City?
No, but we'll be talking about Wales.
Wales.
Which is
where he's from.
Which is where Mike Peters is from, and he had video of himself and his family and friends celebrating the Welsh victory over Belgium, which was, as they say over in Britain, a stunner.
A stunner. I love the accent, especially when they say the curse. I can't even say it. But the curse that they use, it doesn't sound like our curse.
No.
It's the same word, and
right.
and it rhymes with looking.
Yeah. It's a ooh sound as opposed to like a duck kind of a sound.
So anyway, you're listening to From the Pressbox right here on 90.3 FM WHPC, and still a lot of things to talk about. Quickly, Jeremy Lin signed for $36 million for 3 years, which is actually, I think, a good deal for the Nets. They needed someone.
I mean, if you can say that $12 million a year for a guy who really hasn't proven himself as an NBA starter is a good deal.
You know
this is how crazy the money is now.
But
it really is insane.
I think the Nets needed, Jeremy Lin for 2 months was a big deal in New York, and I think if he can get anything close to that, then the Nets have done what they need to do, and that's to get back on the close to the back page of being somewhat important in New York.
Well, Linsanity is back, so...
The Brooklyn Nets, no one cares about them.
No, and nobody will for a couple of years.
Even more than that.
Here's what I thought when the Nets signed Jeremy Lin. He can now buy the best couch in New York.
Yeah, he can.
I mean, he's going to have the biggest couch. Who knows where he's going to live?
Explain for those who don't know.
For those who don't know, Jeremy Lin, when he originally came to the Knicks, he was signed as a free agent. And not as a free agent in this money-mad NBA that we're in now. He was basically signed to a minimum contract and wound up sleeping on the sofa of a teammate. I can't remember who it was. But, I mean, literally was sleeping on a friend's couch or a teammate's couch, and he basically was the last man on the bench for the Knicks until it became necessary that he actually got into a game, and all of a sudden he played pretty well, and they said, all right, you're going to start the next game, and he scored 20-something points, and Linsanity was born. Yeah, that was one of the number 17 shirts for a couple of weeks.
Also, I don't know. What else is going on quickly about the NBA?
Well, just real quick to sum it up. Like we said, Kevin Durant is making his decision today, or at least that's what he said he was going to do. And the finalists appear to be the Warriors and the Thunder. My sources are telling me the Thunder, but if they're wrong, then I'm going to need to get a new source. Mike Conley, point guard of the Vancouver Grizzlies, who I wouldn't even say is one of the top 5 point guards in the league, but he's probably top 10 for sure. He got the biggest deal so far, 5 years, $153 million. So that's more than $30 million a year for a guy who's not even the top 3 guys at his position. That's how crazy the money is. DeMar DeRozan of the Toronto Raptors got
even more.
he got 5 years, $145 million to stay with the Raptors. And then that was a contract that the Raptors needed to sign, because without him, and he and Kyle Lowry in that backcourt were the reason that the Raptors were so successful last year. Thus far, and we're still a couple of big deals away from happening, Durant being one of them, but there have been 6 deals signed or agreed to so far, because they said they can't sign until Thursday, but 6 deals worth at least $100 million. I mean, this is, again, today's end. And we're talking, none of these deals is longer than 5 years. There isn't a deal longer than 5 years.
If I was a team, I wouldn't sign anyone more than 5 years.
But they can't. The 5 years is the longest they can go.
Okay, so to me, that's a good idea. Well, I like that idea because, look what happens if you get injured. Just based on David Wright.
Okay.
That's a good.
But here's the craziness of it. All right, Steph Curry, who was a unanimous MVP of the league this year.
Right.
He will be making, in the final year of his contract that he signed, this will be 4 years ago, he will be making $11 million this year.
Okay.
How many players? Jeremy Lin will be making more this year than Steph Curry. That's how crazy
It is, but
the NBA has become.
Yeah, what Steph Curry looks for next year.
Steph Curry next year, with the boost that's coming in the salary cap, he very well could make $40 million a year next year, starting with that guy. He could sign a 5-year, $200 million contract.
LeBron
will sign something exactly the same, but for $1 more.
Yeah.
He'll wait until Curry signs, and he'll say to the Cavaliers, I want what Curry got, except I want $1 more. Or actually, he'll want $23 more, because that's his number.
I once did that with a wedding gift.
There you go.
And my friend gave a certain amount, and I found out what it was, and I put $2 in more.
Oh, my God.
Well, you know my friend.
I don't even want to know.
So I'll tell you off the air.
All right.
Anyway, so the NBA free agency, that happens very quickly, as you said, which is a good and a bad thing.
They move fast.
I prefer if it dragged out a little more, but you know what?
I'm glad.
This
I have
sets
to
up right away.
Have to be. You know, like I'm thinking, because like I said with baseball,
sets up for the fall spring training.
But it's like I said with baseball. Baseball happens slow. Football happens fast. It's the same kind of frenzy, except of course with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick is like a baseball player at this point because his whole free agency saga has been going on for a couple of months now.
Right.
And we still have no idea when or if it's going to end. He keeps claiming that he's going to retire rather than play for $8 million. The Jets want to give him $12 million for the first year and $6 million for the next 2. So they wanted to be.
You said Ryan Howard.
No.
Fitzpatrick.
I said Fitzpatrick.
I thought you said Howard.
I'm pretty sure I said Fitzpatrick. Whatever. I'll check the video later.
Okay.
But Fitzpatrick, they want to go $12 million the first year and $6 million for the next 2. They want it to be a 3-year, $24 million deal.
That's what no one talks about. You forget that this deal
it's still out there.
It should have been signed 2 months ago at least.
But Fitzpatrick says that he'll sign a 1-year deal for $12 million, and the Jets don't want to do that because it's all because of salary cap stuff.
Right.
And it also protects them because he is an older quarterback, so you know it allows them to get out of the contract if he doesn't perform. So I don't know what's going on with this. It's all so ridiculous.
The thing is, who they're going to sign him, I guess, but
maybe. But it's not a lot.
But let's say they don't. Let's say the Nets mix them. So the Jets just walk away. Who does he sign with?
Nobody. Nobody's made him an offer yet. The only you know what he does. He becomes somebody's backup and he makes $2 million because nobody's got cap money left anymore. I mean, there are I guess a handful of teams, but nobody who's going to sign him. Nobody's going to invest in him what he wants to be a starter. So he'll sign a contract with somebody for $2 million and be a backup, and he'll stand on the sideline with a clipboard and hope he doesn't have to play. Because then, if he doesn't play and he makes $2 million for basically doing nothing but running plays during the week for practice, then that's a bargain. But if he has to play for that kind of money, then he's an idiot for not taking the Jets offer.
I would take the 3 years, but ask for an opt-out after the first.
Well, that's every NFL contract has something. Well, it has a team
let's talk about the NHL. They also are in their free agency madness. Sad news for the Islanders and I shouldn't say the Islanders, the Islander fans. Kyle Okposo signed with Buffalo Sabres, 7 years, $42 million. Matt Martin went to Toronto, 4 years, $10 million, and Franz Nielsen, 6 years, $31.5 million to Detroit. I am a little sad about losing these 3 players, especially.
I'm very sad. I'm puzzled as to what the Islanders' plan is. They're not operating like a team with a plan.
Well, one of my problems is right now is that the Islanders, for those who don't know, the ownership percentage is switched. I forgot the 2 new guys' names. But they were partners with Charles Wang. Now it's the other way around. Now the partners own the majority. Wang owns 15%. Mm-hmm. Wang was written up in the papers this week saying how he saved the Islanders, but then, of course, the Lighthouse Project never took over. They couldn't get an arena to play in, and then he basically said to the Barclays people, "Oh yeah, okay, take over the team," basically, which is basically what they did.
One man's revisionist history on what happened, but okay.
Well, that's what he said. There's a lot of problems, let's be honest. But, we still know the Islanders was playing across the street from where we are here at college. But I still remember one thing about Charles Wang. First year, 2002, he takes over, him and Sanjay Kumar. They'd have all this fireworks going on, and they'd introduce the team, and they'd show clips of the championship years and stuff. And then they'd go to like a shot of Charles Wang and Kumar. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the people erupted with cheers. How many people have cheered owners? Maybe except, I saw George Steinbrenner get it once.
Because they thought they were going to spend money.
Right. Well, and they sort of did, but then after a while they stopped. It almost went back to the old days of not
It
Pickett,
did.
not Pickett. Who was the guy? Well, Pickett was there.
Pickett, and then the crazy guy who bought the team with no money.
No, it's not John Spano. He's not doing well, Pickett stopped spending money because he basically told his GM, I don't want to lose any money, so don't spend any money. Because he still has.
What a great way to run a franchise.
The Islanders still have one of the great TV contracts in the league.
Yeah, which means he wasn't losing money.
Right, and actually I think Pickett's part of the deal was he still gets that money. He's trying to pull like the Spirit of St. Louis deal with the the deal.
I know that deal. Nobody's pulling that deal.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, how did you celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day?
I had a drink in Bobby Bo's honor.
Right.
Hey, he got his $1.19 million on July 1st.
I don't know why this year it was written about all over the place.
Because it's phenomenal.
It's a great deal.
I mean, we're kind of taking a tangent here, but for those of you who don't know, Bobby Bonilla has deferred money from his second tour of duty with the Mets.
Right.
And they wanted to release him, and he was still owed $5.9 million. And his agent at the time apparently was some kind of real estate guy or something. I forget what his job was. But he understood about deferred money and what to do with it and how to do it. And the Mets agreed, and the story that I read, they said part of the reason that they agreed was because of the investments that they had with Madoff.
Right, Madoff.
And they figured that those investments would make more than the interest that they were paying Bobby Bo.
Bobby Bonilla sure has thank you letters concerning this.
Yeah, so in effect that the Mets would actually make money on the deal.
Right.
Because Bobby Bo's interest rate was 8% and they were getting 14 or 15% back from Madoff. Now,
Madoff, of course, was all a lie.
Well, yeah, of course. But here's the great thing for Bobby Bo, because some people are saying, well, it would have been better for him to have the lump sum $6 million and he could invest it any way he wants. Let's face facts. The stock market hasn't exactly been friendly to people in the last, say, decade. Bobby Bo is guaranteed $1 million or $1.19 million a year through 2035. So for the next 19 years, he gets a check for $1.19 million every July 1st.
Yeah.
Now, if that's me, and you look at a lot of athletes, how many athletes just blow through the money that they've made in their careers? And I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Allen Iverson, Antoine Walker, there's tons of NBA guys, a lot of baseball players who, they're supporting their families, and everybody's got a handout, and everybody wants to start some kind of crazy business, and all the money just vanishes. I mean, we're talking about...
Eventually, because they're the ones that put up the money to get things going.
Yeah, but we're talking like 9 figures. I mean, these are guys that made over $100 million in their career, and they're now broke. So, if nothing else, Bobby Bonilla has financial security.
Yeah, even if it's just $1 million a year.
I mean, take out the taxes, he's probably bringing in about $600,000 or whatever. Yeah. But still, it's $600,000 a year for doing nothing.
That's why if you win the lottery, you don't take the lump sum, you take the 20.
I hope I would live that long for sure, but
maybe not at this point. But
for what? I mean, Bobby Bonilla was just a guy the Mets wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
And because of that decision, because let's face it, because he was lousy at that point in his career, he is set for life.
Right.
He literally is a lottery winner at this point.
I also had a drink for Bobby Bonilla Day, and I was,
how can you not?
I was just amazed that I was also amazed that so many people. I guess it was like an anniversary or something that he got written up in a lot of different places.
Yeah. I was going to take the 6 train up and show the Bronx, or the 4 train maybe go to Yankee Stadium area.
Okay, let's get back. You wanted to mention something about Poso?
Well, here's what I don't understand with the Islanders. And again, this goes back to a complete lack of plan. All right, the Islanders made it pretty obvious from the start that they weren't going to sign Poso. They weren't going to enter into negotiations, and I really don't know why. He's a solid player, 22 goals, 42 assists, 64 points last year, which in today's NHL is a pretty good season.
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite for sure. Good guy, hard-nosed guy. But he gets 7 years for $42 million from the Buffalo Sabres. And the Islanders wind up signing Andrew Ladd, who had 25 goals, 21 assists, 46 points for the Blackhawks last year. And Andrew Ladd gets 7 years, $38.5 million.
Right.
So it's almost the same contract. But Andrew Ladd is 2 years older than Kyle Okposo. So if you're on a 7-year deal, Andrew Ladd is 30. You're going to be paying him $6 million a year for his age 36 and 37 seasons.
Right. And, well, the thing that gets me is, the Islanders made the second round this past season, first time in a long time. And here's Okposo part of that team. So if you have a team that's actually gelling and in the process of ascending, when you want to keep that team together.
They should. And I'm a little upset about, in fact, I'm a lot upset about Okposo. I'm just as upset about Matt Martin. Here's a guy who is part of that fourth line that
was so important,
so energetic, and really got the crowd going. Matt Martin led the NHL in hits 3 years in a row. I don't understand how you let him walk away. And I mean, 4 years, $10 million for a guy with his skill set probably is more than you want to spend. But to me, you have to spend it, and you have to keep that line together because of what they bring to the team. It's not even about goals, and it's about what they do to an opposing team's top line when they're out against them. It's about the energy that they bring to both the team and to the building, because they're just out there knocking people over and playing defense and just making it really difficult for the other team. That's the kind of guy, and you want to keep that line together. And the Islanders just didn't really seem to care. Franz Nielsen, I got to be honest, I think 6 years, $31.5 million to Detroit. I think for a guy his age, I think he's 31. I thought that was a little much. If I'm the Islanders, I wouldn't have paid that.
The thing that gets me, and I mentioned the ownership change. You think the two new guys coming to his name, I don't remember. Sorry. You think that they would want to keep what got them there together, at least with this company,
and improve on it.
Because this next season for them is very important. It's just as a status thing, as the new owners, or not the new owners, but the owners that now control the team.
Right.
And you would think they'd want something that was a little better. Signing P.A. Parento, I thought was a good idea for the Islanders.
It's a one-year contract,
deal.
And he's an older guy.
He's older.
Jason Chimera was a 2-year, $4.5 million from the Capitals. Another older guy. He's 37. I mean, he's a good guy in the locker room, but
still play.
I mean, he scored 20 goals last year. So I mean, I have no complaints.
Mario Lemieux kept playing.
I have no complaints from that standpoint as far as here's a guy who's a solid guy, he's a good locker room guy. But if you look at the 3 guys they lost versus the 3 guys they brought in, right. I don't think they're better.
No, I agree.
So what's the plan? It comes back to what are they doing, and is it a matter of trying to save a few $1 million? Because if that's where we are with the Islanders, that all right, we'll sign Ladd instead of Okposo because it'll save us $3.5 million over 7 years. So you're talking about
nothing.
What? About $600,000 a year, which I know in real terms, in real human terms, that's a lot of money. But let's face it, for a professional sports franchise, that's what they spend to keep the team in sodas. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's penny pinching. And if this is where the Islanders are going, and especially under this new ownership, then I'm concerned, because last year was such an encouraging season, winning the playoff series and looking like this is a team that's going somewhere. And the other thing you have to remember is John Tavares' contract is coming up. So
right.
You have to show your best player, and a guy who is one of the top 5 players in the league, you have to show him there's a reason for him to stay. Otherwise, he'll run out of here so fast that the Islanders won't know what hit him, and all of a sudden they'll be a 70-point team again.
And people won't take the train to Brooklyn.
Exactly. You need a star player. The Islanders have one, and a guy who seems to want to be here, but at the same time, you have to give him a reason to stay. You can't just, you can't keep finishing middle of the pack, and you need to be able to show growth and improvement. And again, I don't see that in this free agency period so far.
No. You're listening to From the Pressbox right here on 90.3 FM WHPC, 516-572-7440. If you have a comment or question, if you're listening online, the streaming address is tunein.edu/WHPC or tunein.com, search WHPC.
We want to tell you about a program with real appeal. There is a high-quality, low-cost paralegal studies program right here at Nassau Community College.
It can be your major while earning your associate's degree, or taking a